Hello there, my name is Charles Jackson. I'll be your instructor this term for Solar System Astronomy for ASTR 101. When you log into your homepage in Blackboard, this is the screen that you should see, and what you have under your courses is the course list that you've registered for. So for this course, if you will click on your course for this term, what should come available is your announcement page. And there is a first day announcement with this video broadcast available and some text style instructions on how to navigate your way through the course. So this might be particularly helpful if you're in the online environment for the very first time. So where do you begin? We've got a fairly intuitive set of quick links that you'll use quite a bit throughout the course, mainly because of efficiency. And the design of this course is quite straightforward from the standpoint of where to start, because it has a start here button. When you click start here, you have a subheading of files that are very important early on in the course. And by early on, I'm talking about the first 3 days of the course. Take some time to get familiar with each one of these items, particularly your syllabus and calendar. Both of these are quite helpful. Your syllabus will give you very direct language on where your grade will come from this term. You're in a 1,000 point course, and your syllabus will dictate where those point breakouts are going to come from. But I do want to show you something called the course calendar, because this is outlining all of the due dates in the course. All of our due dates are hard deadlines. We don't extend those, and the reason being because they're published from day one of the course, and I won't change those. So when you have that conflict coming up or that scheduled event and you see that it overlaps with a due date, then be proactive instead of reactive and make certain that you can post early. You'll be able to access the majority of course items early, so that is by intention that you may avoid any conflict. So do be proactive and make sure that you can anticipate those dates. There are only 2 exams in the course, and those occur in the midterm style, and that is your session 8, and then you have one that is your final exam. And those will be a collection of chapters that will be collected from questions that are previous sessions. In other words, the midterm exam will be composed of questions that you will be answering quizzes from, of a larger pool of questions throughout a certain block of time, which in midterm perspective is sessions 1 through session 7. And there's language in the syllabus that helps describe that. So now that we've got that under wrap and we understand how to get to this point in the course, and we know when things are due, where do we find the things that we need to do? Let's go into our class sessions. Class sessions are folders, and we have 16 folders because this is a 16-week course. So you'll see session 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Session 1 folder is the items and objectives we need to do during week 1. So to open that up, simply click on it, and what this will allow us to see is an introduction, an introductory video, optional apps, and then course objectives. This is the thread of design that all sessions will follow. You will have an introduction, an introductory video, and then optional apps. Why optional apps? Because maybe, like many of you have already found out, there is an amazing blend between astronomy and technology, and it's quite amazing that you can put a lot of that on your mobile application. Some of you might have an app that is on your phone, maybe like Google Sky. So what this course does is allow you to see some of those free apps that you can download. They're non-credit items, but it does allow you to see what those designers are doing that relate to the topics that you'll be studying. There are a few that are not free, and they are certainly not the absolute most crisp and up to date, because apps, as most of you understand, change quickly. But they are some of the favorites that students have enjoyed working with in the past. Let's look down below that and get into this green heading where it says Session 1, Learning Objectives and Content. Look how easy it is to find out what we need to do during week 1 or session 1. You've got a bulleted list of items. Just follow that and you'll stay on path. Whenever you want to make certain that you know that you're turning things in correctly and on time, use your course calendar. So that should get things started in that format. There's one other heading in the quick link that I want to point out, and that is your discussions. Discussions is an area where we can use in multiple ways. For example, we have a help discussion. What you might use the help discussion for, and what students have used it for in the past, is the help discussion is an area where you can reach out for a general level help question to others in the class. Something that might be just a confirmation, like, I'm having trouble accessing something in the course, whatever it may be. Is anybody else having the same difficulty? This allows you to have a student to student level feedback to see if it's isolated to your machine, or maybe it's something more widely spread. The Cyber Cafe is an area where we might talk about certain things that relate to the course but aren't credit level items, and they're not a problem. For example, maybe you watched the movie Interstellar and you wanted to talk about the realistic aspect of that. If that's the thread that the class would like to follow, and there's some of you that want to enter that, then the Cyber Cafe is where you might do that. The credit-based discussions are below. So you see one that is in grayed out background here, session 1. Your introduction to the course is a point-based assignment. You need to do that to receive credit. You have 3 objectives that you need to address within that discussion. And besides just posting your discussion by Wednesday, because if you remember at the course calendar, all of our deadlines were Sunday, except for the very last one, where you do have one Saturday due date, and that is the very last one of the course. So after you post your original introduction, then you need to reply to students' introductions that have posted as well. So in other words, read the other postings in the class and make postings to at least 2 others. So that's very similar to us doing an introduction in a face-to-face class. That's the goal of that. Then we have 2 non-traditional discussions. You may not have participated in things like these before in other courses. They have a structure that is in fashion of a debate. Although we can't formally debate in this learning environment, we can mimic that. And we will do that in 2 areas of the course. Our first is in sessions 2 and 3. You will be assigned a certain perspective. How do you know what perspective you're assigned? You need to click on the Resources tab. Once you're in that Resources tab, there is a link that gives you further instructions on your debate. Those will be a certain assignment that will ask you to respond from a prescribed perspective. It may or may not be the one that you personally have, but for the sake of the debate and for balance in the discussion, it will fulfill our objective. So these are all discussions that we need to fulfill and we need to participate in. And that will take place in a fashion that will follow very similar to what we would have in a face-to-face classroom. But instead of raising your hand or dialoguing back and forth between students within the classroom and your instructor, we can do this asynchronously and have a greater efficiency within the schedules that are so often very busy. So you can do that at your own discretion. That kind of gives you an idea of where to start. And like I mentioned before, there is one due date that is not Sunday. So I want to reinforce this because sometimes this catches us off guard just a little bit. It's found in the calendar section. It's clearly labeled, but do pay attention to that. As the course ends, because our Proctor site has certain hours, the end of the course ends on a Saturday. All of these other dates are Sunday due dates. So this is clearly labeled. Just make sure you anticipate that. Usually is never a problem in the course. It's labeled there, and we see that clearly in a couple different areas, but do make sure you anticipate that. So I look forward to working with you this term. Hopefully that'll allow the course to start very smoothly for you. And if you ever have any questions, make sure you use email. Thank you.